Former President Donald Trump was recently arraigned in Manhattan, New York, by newly appointed District Attorney Alvin Bragg on 34 felony charges. So I've been thinking, how much does it really cost to arraign a former president? And that's exactly what we're going to find out today in our episode of Dirty Money. Let's start out with the transportation of the president and his Secret Service from Mar-a-Lago, Florida to Manhattan. Trump had a choice on whether or not to take a U.S. government plane or his own newly refurbished Boeing 757, infamously named Trump Force One. Naturally, he chose the latter. The average cost per hour to fly a Boeing 757 is $19,800. This includes the fuel, pilot, and the flight staff. The flight time is roughly 2.5 hours each way, depending on tailwinds. So we'll put it at 5 hours of flight time, costing a total of $99,000. Wow, that's almost six figures just to get there and back for the arraignment. Now let's look into the Secret Service that's needed to protect the former president on his trip. It's relatively difficult to find the exact number of Secret Service agents that were needed for the arraignment because the secrecy they have to keep. But the report says there are dozens and dozens. And I found something that stated President Biden has roughly 33 Secret Service members. So for time's sake, let's say there's 24 or 24 Secret Service members with Trump. The average median salary of a Secret Service agent is $105,000 per year, assuming they work 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, allowing for 2 weeks of vacation. The average daily salary is $420 a day. With that being the cost of Trump's Secret Service would be $10,800 per day. Now let's look into the cost of the people at the courthouse, like the judges, district attorney, the police that were required to be on call, and so on. The newly famous district attorney, Alvin Bragg, has an estimated salary of $200,000 per year, making him one of the highest paid public officials in the state of New York. This puts his pay for the day at $800. Along with him, the judge who heard and took the case was Juan Mercan. He has an annual salary of $210,900, putting him $100,000 plus over the average salary of a judge. His cost for the day was roughly $843. An average court clerk in New York makes $57,000 per year. That puts the court clerk cost at $228 for the day. Along with this, there were a total of 9 assistants to the district attorney that helped to gather and arrange information. These assistants have an average annual salary of roughly $92,000 per year, putting their daily rate around $368 if we're calculating just the efforts of the day of the arraignment that was done by the district attorney's office and those who are normally meant to be in court. The total cost is $3,312. Now let's move on to the police that were hired for the day. The NYPD started preparing a week prior to the arraignment by putting camera lights on posts and placing barricades all over the city. A metal barricade costs roughly $89. Labor union workers are paid average of $55,060 a year. Those are the ones who are going to be putting in the actual barricades all over town. The $55,060 a year was brought up by ZipRecruiter. That's what they're saying is the hiring cost. That puts weekly pay for one union laborer at about $1,058 a week. Assuming it took 150 labor union workers a week to install all the necessary items, the cost of labor was around $158,000 to install all the barricades. An average NYPD salary for a police officer is $82,000 a year. The NYPD employs 50,000 people with 35,000 uniformed police officers. For the arraignment, the NYPD had all 35,000 uniformed officers on call. CBS News reported that all NYPD police officers had to be in uniform, including plainclothes detectives. NYPD has 6,000 plainclothes detectives, and they were going to assume half of them were on the call, meaning that half of them had to be ready for a call. An average detective salary is $143,000 per year. If half of the plainclothes detectives were on call, their pay would be $1.716 million. The cost to have 35,000 uniformed police officers on call for that one day was $11.5 million. That puts the total for the state of New York for the day at $13.4 million. If you think this spending is justified or you think this is dirty money, let us know in the comments below.